We can thank the United States Congress for this, but that is another conversation and another session, actually, that I hope we have. So I want to state this very clearly and very simply. More money needs to be put on the street to help those who need help and those who the legislation is designed to benefit. I want to acknowledge, as John pointed out, that there have been some improvements in WIB operations in the last year, but there really is still cause for concern in the view of many. I want to highlight quickly some areas. The issue of payments, timely payments to service providers. This actually is an area of improvement, but the city has set the standard of 20 working days for reimbursement to service providers. While this may work for large organizations or for-profit companies, it does not work for smaller nonprofits which cannot advance funds on behalf of the city from money that they do not have. Even if a large nonprofit advances the money, it's still problematic, especially if the city is delayed in reimbursing that larger nonprofit. We experienced several months of delays about a year ago this time, amounting to over $800,000 that we have advanced on the part of the city. So nonprofits then, the ones who can, are forced to use non-WIA funds if they have them to cover WIA expenses. This creates accounting nightmares, as you might imagine, audit problems, and so forth. And I'm pointing this out. It's a kind of technical point, but audits are very critical to the success and fundraising ability of nonprofits. So the turnaround time for reimbursement from the city is now 20 working days. That's a month, essentially. That's almost a month. So that's a long time. And I should point out a historical note here. The reimbursement time used to be a maximum of 5 days from the city. No problem, 5 days. Employers and potential employers, especially those that are small employers, emerging employers, local employers, women-owned businesses, those we want to support through the system, are impacted because these are the employers that are willing to hire our folks with a little help from the system, some wage reimbursement and so forth. They are harmed, as well as the job seeker, when the system can't pay them on time because the city is not paying on time. Service providers are also experiencing delays in getting contracts from the city. We've looked at the data over the last 3 fiscal years. The earliest contract fully executed from the city was not executed until the end of September, which is a full quarter missing in the fiscal year. That's 3 months into the fiscal year. So the city, that would be fine if the city's policy was to go ahead and start work anyway. It is not. We are instructed not to start work until you have a contract in place. And sometimes the contract does not come until the year is almost over. So let me just wrap up with this. I don't think there was any intent on the part of the city to do harm to Oakland's small nonprofit organizations. But because of the city's inflexible, built-in operating practices, that has, in fact, been an unintended consequence. While these practices may make sense to the city, they are extremely difficult for small organizations to comply with. Some organizations that have done excellent work on the ground are now completely out of the WIA business. So again, I want to thank you. We are here today asking the city to keep in mind the Hippocratic oath of the medical profession. Even though you may not be able to help our constituents receive what they need, please do no harm and help us chart a new way forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Madam